Welcome reading to. So, right out the gate, I just felt a lot of magical energy from you guys. I felt so many different things. The song was on when I was putting your altar together, and it was called Zen Wisdom. But then I also was feeling this kind of like at the end of your rope, like you can't, you know, that's why only P is lit up, right? Like, because maybe the Hope Cafe, when it first opened, it was like full of life and everything was great, but over time the other letters lost their shine, right? And now all you see is P at the end, which is so funny because I didn't mean it that way, but you know what I mean. um, but I'm feeling like a lot of self-conscious energy, so I'm just going to jump in. We are using the past life deck. We are working with the waning gibbous energy, the sixth moon phase of the moon, of the Aries moon. This was the second moon, the dark moon. And also, Mercury is still in retrograde. This is the last week of Mercury retrograde. And I can tell you from my readings, like, it's more than just being spacey. Or everybody who knows me knows, like, I partake in cannabis every day. It's legal where I live. It's part of my medicine and my connection with spirit and myself and higher knowing and learning. And so I'm used to having like a little spaciness, but this has been different. I just feel completely disconnected in some ways and really connected in other ways. And it's kind of messed with my chi a little bit too, because I'm kind of like, am I coming? Am I going? I've been feeling a little off lately. And also, I'm feeling like this wants to come down. Like, I feel like Spirit wants to focus on hope, like, really focus on hope. They want you to focus on hope and see that it's all an illusion, right? Because the whole sign is lit up. It's just an illusion. It's part of magic, and you're magicians. So where's your mojo, right? We got to reflect and release. Remember, reflect and release energy. The title of this reading for the tribe was The Flow of Let Go. I just heard Homeward Bound. I wish I was homeward bound. Home. Right? You know that song from Simon and Garfunkel? Okay, so here's your card. I don't know what it is yet either, but forgiveness. Oh my goddess. Okay, forgiveness. Beautiful souls. You know, it's interesting. I've had this piece of wood. I use it for readings, have been using it forever. And I don't know if this was always here and I just noticed it or if it broke off, but like I didn't want to cover that because it felt very like earthy and home. And right before I did your reading, I was pulled to go outside and meditate. And the song right before I went out there, after I heard Zen Wisdom for You, was it was talking about mudras. So if you're so inclined, research mudras, Mudra. I believe that's how it's spelled. There might be an H in there. But I'm not going to get into it because I don't have a lot of time for that. Spirit gave me a lot of time, and plus reading one was so long and so intense. If you were pulled to reading one, I would go watch it, but it was very long and very intense, but really good. Like, I feel like I had to go meditate after that before I came to you guys because I was like, holy shit. Especially when I when I put yours together and yours was like hope. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, our tribe, like, right, like we're all feeling like, if you're drawn to this reading wherever you found this, if you're new, welcome, and if you're coming back, welcome back. Thank you for being here and supporting me and the tribe in all ways, shapes, and forms. We are in gratitude and grateful for you being here. But I cut to the chase. I speak truth as I see it from my level of consciousness at the time. But this really makes sense for you guys because the root chakra, right? Root, it's the very first chakra. It's our foundation. It's our home. So homeward bound. So for some of you, it's time for you to go home. Now, home could be different things for different people, right? Like home could be Nana's house, right? Like home could be you didn't feel like you had a home, right? So when you, like, maybe your parents weren't there for you, or they were young parents and they were working, or whatever the case may be. I just get the vibe for some of you, like home was like going to Nana's, like or if you just needed a good cry. And I'm feeling like that there's got to be somebody, someone, even one person in your orbit that feels like that Nana vibe, right? Like grandma, Now, trust me, not everybody had, awesome grandmas either, but you get the drift. It's that kind of, it's the crone, it's that mothering, I'll take care of you, let me heat you up this, homemade soup, that kind of thing where it's like, oh, I know like this whole week, my husband worked a really big job and I made a homemade soup from scratch. And, sometimes just doing that and having it cook, every day. I'm cooking it, I'm working on it several days. I'm making this soup, right? Till it gets to a point where it's just so yummy because all the seasonings and everything has like melted together. Makes you want to go have a good, cup of soup, doesn't it? Even if it's a gazpacho. I was reminded of that recently, right? Because even when it's hot, a good gazpacho, like a tomato gazpacho soup, it's a cold soup, it's so good. It's good for the soul, but in a different way. So I'm just feeling that kind of vibe, family, home, hope. I mean, I'm literally was singing Homeward Bound. I mean, that's pretty. And also forgiveness. If here's the deal, you can forgive people without ever speaking to them, ever. And you can ask for forgiveness without receiving an answer. Because once you put it out into the universe receives it. And in some way, that person will know. Just as the same on the flip side of that, right? Because this is about reflect and release. How many times have you thought of somebody in a not so loving way? Or you hear really bad news about somebody that, if you were in a gossip circle, you'd be like, come on, they deserve that. Like, come on, they're like, come on. Like, I mean, I don't want anyone to get hurt or anything, but they kind of deserve that, It's like, but even that is like that pettiness, even if it's true, and or if it feels true, right? Because it's whose truth is that? What is the truth? But even if it feels true to you, you know, we're human here. We're flawed. We're meant to fuck up. And forgiving yourself, first and foremost, forgiving yourself. Also, whenever animals come in, I always like to remind you that they are a symbol for you to work with. So, on your own, outside of this reading, research dove spirit medicine, spirit animal. Work with the dove for a little while you're working on the hope. Because doves, a lot of the imagery of doves over time is they're carrying, I forget, is it a laurel or something where it's like the peace beads, like they call them the peace beads, but it's like a natural. Anyway, it's about bringing peace, and the fact that they're white and their big wings all angelic like that. Spirit's like, do you want to be that ambassador on earth, and an ambassador of forgiveness, of white light, of hope? Are you an ambassador of hope? Or are you an ambassador of hate? Because I don't feel like that. I don't feel like you are a hateful person. I feel beauty and love and old wisdom. So you could be going through the dark night of the soul in whatever stage you're in. And also, right now in real time, it is May 8th, 2023, and we are going through Mercury retrograde, and it's the last week. And though it's great to be at the end of it, and we can feel the relief coming soon, it still, was encapsulated with, eclipse energy. Shadow, 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 shadow. So we're looking at all of these things, all of this darkness. I don't know if they want, I have this feeling they want me to pull another card. So, Spirit, do you have any more reflect and release energy for reading too? I'm feeling, if you want to come give some confirmation in the cards, Spirit. I'm going to see what they say first. Because I definitely know it's coming through, but I am feeling this kind of like hold back for a minute. So it could be that it's part of the conversation, but maybe later in the reading, because we are going to pull from the Hedge Witch as well. Okay, here we go. Oh, I had a feeling. Because I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. tonight's the night. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of things from this. See how, and I was talking about in this wood, how it was quote unquote flawed, right? Because it doesn't have the same kind of bark. The bark's obviously like, been picked over. I feel like that is a scab that from your mother that they no longer want you to keep picking at. Now, it does not mean that you have to talk to them again. Okay? For some of you, this is a very toxic person. Like, and the sad thing is that ugh, there's nothing worse than somebody who well, this is my human saying this, but let's just say this. There's nothing more difficult than dealing with somebody who refuses to see their part in the story, who always plays the victim, right? And I feel like it's that kind of thing that it would flip the script no matter what. And this could be a motherly energy. It could be a friend who's like a mother. Like if this is resonating, let's put it this way. Whenever these readings are coming through, sometimes when I'm watching readings, I zone out and I'm like, what are they talking about? Because it's not my medicine. I don't need to hear it. And then all of a sudden I'm like doing dishes and I'll hear, oh, daddy issues, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, wait, here's me. Okay, what do I need to hear now? You know what I mean? For you guys, it's definitely someone who is a divine feminine in your life. So on the outside, it doesn't matter if, their avatar is quote unquote feminine or masculine. It is about the inside. Whomever this is, you need to forgive them, whoever pinged for you. So when I do these readings, like if someone comes to mind, even any readings you watch, if you're watching something and they're talking about lovers in the reading, they're like, oh, just a heads up, we're talking about lovers right now. So if you're single, take from it what you need, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like hearing this information about the lovers. And then all of a sudden something comes through about your parents. And you're like, oh, dude, that sounds like my mom and my dad. Right. And then so that spirit like saying yes, because they influence you. Everything from the time we are children influences us. We say this, we know this. Children are little sponges. They're teeny weeny little cute sponges. Right. But they're old souls. And you're an old soul. This isn't your first time. You've been here before. And I'm feeling this really strong connection to these doves too. So it could be that you love doves, you draw doves, you have a tattoo of a dove, something like that. It could be anything like that. It could be when you were a kid, you really loved them. Maybe your neighbor, you lived in an apartment in a city and your neighbor had them on their, like in those movies, up on the top of the roof in their little cages. Whatever it is, there's a connection there. Also, the way that the flame is reflecting off of forgiveness, isn't it interesting that the light is in between the two doves? It's almost like the one dove is super present and the other dove is like, what, huh? What's happening? Oh, I'm over here. I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to be here. But I feel like this is you and your wings are spread wide open. Like you're open to communication. You're open, but I'm feeling like, see how their wings almost are like straight up, almost like they're clipped in a weird way, right? Like they can't fly, even though I know it's supposed to be that they're supposed to be like in mid-flight or something. But it's like here I feel like this is you and you're chill, but like this person, whomever you're dealing with, this is it's definitely about forgiveness. So whatever pinged, whatever came through, whomever came through. And I don't care if it's a boss from like when you're in high school and it was your first job and you still like have like, certain things about it, let it go. You think it doesn't make a difference, but that shit does. Every single solitary thing we do and go through makes a difference. It's molding us, it's shaping us, and especially as children. So let's see, are there any, oh, look what's at the bottom of the deck. Galactic. Galactic. So interesting. So I'm hearing instead of dealing with that mother or that mother figure, I'm hearing look to the galactic energy, right? Like you're still at story time, right? Like the little kid, you're still at story time, but you're more, over here. The light's over here by you, and you're loving it. You're getting healed. This is amethyst, right? You're getting healed through that energy. And what if you just, thought about your galactic mother? Like, forgive your earth mother, for they know not what they do. I had to stop talking to my earth mother, and one of the last messages, it's been over 2 years now, and one of the last messages they left me was so awful that I just, I still don't have words. It was like 4 months ago, and I still don't have words. Almost 5 months ago now, and I don't have words because as much as I was sad for them and sad that they felt like the need to, cry and be the victim and all that, like, I don't understand and all that. And I was like, I mean, I love them and it hurt to hear that. But at the same time, I'm like, nope, you don't understand. That's why I'm not talking to you, because you don't understand. And I tried to explain it. But when I would try to explain things to my mom, she would just, oh, I know I was a terrible mother or this. It's like, just, gosh, shut the fuck up and let me tell you like what's going on. It's like, if I felt like I could have that real solid relationship with my mom, I would continue it. Otherwise, I'm like, be grateful that you had me for almost 50 years of your life and my life, at least for me. And I hope we come back around. But if we don't, you guys hear me talk about my stuff all the time. I'm telling you these things because it's not easy, but it's made me look at everything so differently. And I have more hope for myself and the planet now than I ever have. And I know it's because I had to cut the toxic energy out of my life. But I also had to forgive it. And I do forgive them and I love them. That heat, that passion you hear is from my sadness that I wish it could be different, but I can't change it. But I love them and I forgive them and I forgive myself and all of the things that transpired between us that weren't positive. But they were, because they made us who we are today. So you have your galactic family, and I'm hearing for some of you, this mother figure is like really holding you back, this feminine, and it could even be you. It could be that you're the mother, because this is the first thing I just got, because we're about to pull from the Enchanted Spell Oracle. Medieval witches or head witches are coveted, so shit's getting real. But before they came in, I really just got this vibe that, like, for some of you, you're the mother. You can't forgive yourself. Like, you're maybe because you think you weren't a good parent, or maybe because you're like, I'm into spiritual stuff and my kids hate that and blah blah blah, and they want their mom to be normal. You know what, it goes both ways, right? It's not just us kids that we're like, oh, I'm damaged because my family told me I was a freak. It's like, no, kids, the way kids talk to parents now, it's so fucking gross. It kind of really grosses me out. And I mean, I know I wasn't the best with my mom either, so I guess it's just like a child thing, but I really feel like it's like gotten out of control, because the divine feminine has had to work in a different capacity on this planet than other energies and entities. It's just a fact. And during this time, it's just been very different. And working hard for the money and being a mother, it didn't work like that. There were systems that were put in place for a reason. Um, and not systems, right? Like patriarchal. I'm talking about just like life, going with the seasons. You can't raise a child by yourself. So, it's like, yes, there were other women that would breastfeed your children. That was okay. It was like, you're a family, you're a community, you work together. When the mother's, having a hard time, she leaves for a few days. So the other women rear, the child. It's like, now they want you to be a mother, be a worker, be all these things. And it's like, what's wrong with you? You can't do it. Well, you wanted to be like us women. That's what we do. And it's like, au contraire, mon frere, because I'll tell you what, no, it's because the women are the ones that take care of the children and the families and all of that throughout history and time. Okay, I'm talking about. And the men were the ones that would go to work. And, and I can tell you from firsthand, I started working downtown Chicago in 1991. And I can tell you that the liquid lunches and all that stuff, that was so true. I mean, I would watch some of these men work maybe 4 hours, but most of that day was schmoozing and drinking and liquid lunches and going out to play golf and all this bullshit. And like, the women are working and they have to go home and put dinner on to, and the men, breeze in when they feel like it. I'm telling you, I watched it. I'm not saying it's still happening, everywhere, but I'm saying I know that energy still exists, and we're trying to bring that back into balance. But right now, it could be that you're trying to be something that was this disgusting, vile energy system that was put into place, not for us, not for you. That's not how you support a mother. It's very hard. You know, they're like, well, you can't have a baby without the seed. It's like, yeah, thank you for planting the seed, but I have to grow this child, this energy, this entity. I have to grow it inside of my body, you know, for 7 to 9 months. You hope at least, you know, in the latter 8 to 9. But I mean, it's just, the world is a very interesting place right now. So take it easy on yourself, okay? And there is hope coming in, because look at this. You pulled rebirth. I was like, I couldn't even believe it. Like, I didn't look at it, but like, I just said that to you guys. And then all of a sudden I looked down and saw it as I was presenting it to you. Okay, so listen, we've got a horse there, and we also have the elder tree, rebirth, November 25th to December 25th. So I'm feeling this like it was in the other reading, which is that those are dates. So it could be that your birthday falls in between those dates. It could be that the person that you're dealing with their birthday falls in between those dates. It also could mean that those are the dates where, I mean, I'm sorry, December 23rd, November 25th to December 23rd. Thank you, Spirit. So I know, like, in North America, that's around Thanksgiving, Christmas, solstice, you know what I mean? Family, things like that. So I feel like some shit's going to come to a head. And, you know, how you handle it and how you bring it back into the world is what is going to show up, you know, in the situation. But I do feel like something is coming to a head. And maybe you've even been thinking about going home for the holidays. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I think that because it's such a mass group, I'm literally like straddling. So I get the vibe, for some of you, it's going to be better to deal with it over the phone. Like, maybe this is your way. Maybe you can do it like that. You know, you're not lying. You're like, I'm not coming home this year. I just want to stay, you know, wherever you are or whatever, and say, I've wanted to do that for a long time. And, or maybe you're in your 20s and you're like, I've always wanted to have my own Christmas with my friends. I did that. There were years I just didn't go home. You know, when I lived in LA in my 20s, I was from Chicago, and I wouldn't go home. I was like, you know, and sometimes it was about the money, and sometimes I was like, oh, you know, that's when I lied. So I don't encourage lying, but I'd be like, oh, we can't afford it, or, you know, I'm like, oh no, we're going to do this or that. Or, you know, luckily my husband's family lived out of the country, and they would come for like 3 weeks at a time. So so that was kind of cool at that point, because I'd be like, oh, you know, we can't come this year, his family's coming in. But that was just as torturous, because his mom was worse than my mom, because she did psychological torture on me. So, but you know what I mean? It's like, if you don't want to deal with it from both sides of your family or whatever, don't. Stop doing it. And you don't have to ask for anyone's forgiveness about it. You don't have to even explain yourself. You just have to say, I'm not coming home this year. I don't want to come home this year. Or even if you live in the same town, I don't care if you live 4 houses over and they're like, what do you mean you're not coming over? Be like, I'm not coming over. And if they're like, what does that mean? Just be like, I don't know. I just have always wanted to spend a holiday without anybody else. I've spent holidays just by myself, and my family and friends were like checking. Now, mind you, I was very suicidal. I attempted suicide many times, so I understood why they did, and I do love them for that. But, you know, but they would like be checking in on me. They're like, we haven't heard from you. We haven't heard from you. Are you okay? I'm like, yes. I'm like, it's actually, you know, and then how do you say to them, this is the best Christmas I've ever had? And I did. I got my favorite movies to watch, my favorite food. At that time, I was still drinking. I got wine and my weed, and I had like the best time, you know, and sometimes you just need that time to yourself. So, you know, maybe your rebirth is by putting your foot down and saying, I'm going to do something totally, totally different, because this is about reflect and release. So maybe you need to release, you know, the patterns of always going to grandma's house, or, you know, always going, you know, to Uncle Bob's or whatever. It's like, maybe it's time for you to start your own family traditions. You know, maybe the mother part is you, and that you're like, I want to start my own traditions. I don't want to travel anymore. I want to have Christmas at my house. And if your family's like, oh, we'll come to you, be like, no, I mean, I just want to have my family at my house, no one else. I wish you a Merry Christmas, you know, blessed solstice, but that's it. Also, I'm feeling like I want to cover like that word more. I don't know why. Because I feel like they want you to see it as like, you are hope and your rebirth. And maybe that's how you need to rebirth your hope, is to spend that time on your own, no matter where you live, you know. But I definitely feel like, you know, that's such a heavy laden holiday time, no matter what cultures or religions you believe in. There's a lot of cultures between November 25th to December 23rd that celebrate, you know, celebrations and reaping the harvest and all that kind of stuff. So each of these come with their own animal, and they come with like, you know, trees. Like this one, it's an elder tree, and some come with food. So yours is Rebirth, the elder tree, and it says the elder tree was an incredibly useful plant in medieval times. It was used for its soothing properties and beauty products, and was often transformed into wine, champagne, and cordials. Traditionally, many woodwind instruments are made from elder wood. The elder tree has strong associations with the fairy folk, with legend proclaiming that the best place to catch a glimpse of one is under an elder tree. It's also on page 91. So I feel like nine's almost the end and one is like the beginning, right? If you want to look at it like that, like maybe it's like the rebirth thing, but if you add them together, it's also the number 10. Like something's done, and if you take the 0 off, it's 1. You know, like I feel like you're in a major transformative period. I'm really proud of you though, and I'm really happy for you guys, because this is what was needed for you. Spirit says the symbolism of the card is the priestess of rebirth contemplates life beneath a botanical wheel of elder leaves, berries, and flowers. She is clothed in deep pink and violet, the colors of insight and self-knowledge. This priestess is associated with the winter solstice, Yule, the period between 25 November and 23rd December in the northern hemisphere. Beside her is a Celtic horse, the spirit animal of the elder tree. In medieval times, bunches of strong smelling elder leaves were tied around horses' harnesses to keep away disease carrying flies. That's really cool. Hey, if you have horses, that's a good thing. I didn't know that. That's a really, really cool thing. Sorry, I just moved. I live in an RV, so when I move, the whole house shakes. That's so funny. Anyway, so the divination is when the rebirth card appears, some kind of transformation is about to take place. What were we saying? You're about to enter a brand new phase in life. Rebirth promises victory over a challenge, and with it, you become wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. This card has similarities to the death card in the tarot, for it is a card of endings and beginnings and of letting go. And remember, the theme of this was the flow of let go. Elder leaf spell. This spell uses the leaves of the elder tree to bring victory over a challenge. So I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to put it so you can take a screenshot of it. I'm going to put it in front of the camera, but I'm going to say it first. Fill a glass bowl or chalice with water. Place 3 freshly picked elder leaves in the water, and on top of the leaves, place a floating candle. Light the candle. I heard a white candle, but you light whatever feels good to you, okay? But I heard somebody wanted to know what color. White. White is good to connect with spirit, but whatever. If they say a color here, take it or use whatever feels good. Light the candle, watching as the little beams of light magically bounce around the water. Know that just as this bowl is filled with light and magic, so are you. Gaze into the water and whisper, "May the elder leaves and fire fulfill my desires." State your desire out loud and know that it will come to pass. Wow, powerful. I love this for you reading too. This is really powerful. Let me bring this over here so we can get this light and you can really get a good, oh, that's lovely. That is lovely. Okay, hold on. Can you get in there? Get a screenshot. Do this spell. Right? And remember, we don't, every spell that we do, or any type of quote unquote spell, we're spelling every moment when we're putting words down on paper, and when they're coming out of our mouths. We are constantly spell casting. So be mindful of what you're thinking when you're doing this spell as well. And also, Spirit has been asking us to, instead of saying no fear, no fear, no fear, instead just be like happiness, joy, love. You know what I mean? Don't even bring in no words or like fear-based words or words that have some type of energy that feels quote unquote not in the greatest and highest good of your situation, if that makes sense. So you know, and even when you're thinking a negative thought about this person or something's happening, just think, I love them, so that when they think of you, they think of love. Because if you're thinking of them, they're going to feel that. And if you're thinking negative thoughts, they're going to feel that too. So, you know, we reap what we sow. Remember that. All right, Spirit, are there any more messages for this reading right now? Nope, that's it. All right, you guys, I love you so much. I hope this helped you in any way. All of my information is in the About section. Never ever anticipated, but always appreciated any contributions. There are links in my About section. And if you would like to book any time with me, or if you would like to purchase a recorded reading just for you, which is half the price, you can email me at magicalmedium@gmail.com. And it is in my About section as well. And I will see you at the next reading. Until next time, take really good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Love you.